previous video, we downloaded the earnings per share for about 3,000 stocks in the US stock market. In this video now, we're going to download what the price was of each of those stocks at the same time as when the earnings per share was reported. We need this to do the discounted cash flow calculation, where we calculate an average PE ratio. So let's get to it. So in Python, we have an empty browser again, and then just for file hygiene, let's just save it. Now I've got it in the same folder as where I saved all the other files. So for me, Russell Investment Market Value Model. And we're going to call this file Inv201 underscore price at EPS scraper. I'll just call this 01. And then video, because I'm making the video. Great. So there's a lot of familiar things that we need to do in writing the code. What we're going to use is Yahoo Finance to pull the data out, but there's a couple complications. One, in that if you look at the data file that we're going to use to feed this, it is this EPS. So scroll over here. Let me just freeze panes just to demonstrate this. View, freeze panes. So there's all these companies report at different month ends each year. So this one is in, all these are in December each year, but then this particular one, Apple, reports in September, and then September again. So not all these companies report at the same time. And then if we want to pull out the price at a specific date, all of this data is just giving us year and month. It's not giving us day. So we then need to go and the end of the month might be on a Saturday or a Sunday, might be on a Saturday or a Sunday. So they might have reported on the Friday because the stock market closes on a Friday. So we need to that's a further complication. And then there's just the complication of maybe the system fails, as in Yahoo Finance just doesn't bring back the data the first time. So we've got to get this to persevere. So there's all sorts of fun to be had in this. So let's get going. The first thing we need to do, as always, this is a bit like in a cooking show where they put on some garlic and onion in olive oil. This is the same thing of we need to import the data. So the same old function from the previous videos. It's from OS import chdr. Let's just label these as functions used, and then the code to import the data. So change directory and import the data. So now we're going to import the data into a pandas data frame. So let's just import that function. Import pandas as PD. Cool. And let's write the code, which is chdr, and let's just go to the folder that we're using, which is this one, the root folder. So select in there, Control C, quotes, Control V, and then the quirk of Python of having double backslash, and then we need to read this into pandas, which is, we're going to call this data frame EPSDF, EPS data frame, EPSDF, is equal to pd dot data frame. Note that this is the capital D and F. Wait, no, pd dot read underscore CSV, and then quotes. I wanted to look into the here's the FinDat folder within this market value model folder. So you wanted to go to the fin, capital Fin Dat, backspace, and the file's name is EPS sum 01. Control A, Control C, Control V. Okay, and then we want to just put in that index col is equal to 0. So that's putting on the onions and the garlic. Let's just test all of this and make sure it's come in okay. There we go, looks alright. Type in EPSDF. Hey, this monster data frame. Okay, it looks like it's read in fine. So the next thing that we want to look at is we need to download data. So we need to import the functions for that. Now stick with me for that. Functions to download data. So before we do this, you need to do something. We need to install a function that doesn't come with Anaconda. So we need to do this thing called pip install. So you go to Anaconda and click on the Anaconda prompt. That's quite important. It comes up. And now it's really important. So there's this thing called Pandas data reader. So what you type is pip install pandas dash data reader. Enter. Okay, I've already installed this, but that's the way that you install Pandas data reader. So for future reference, but you're going to need to do this because we need this file. Okay, so we need to import those functions now. So import pandas underscore data reader dot data as web. So we're just renaming all of this as web to make it easier to use. Now before that line, this is extremely important. In Yahoo systems, something changed in the way that the things work. This is the joy of using code and dealing with other systems. Things kind of change and you've got to just roll with it. So this particular line of code is very important to make the data reader work. So just type it in, pd.core.common.is underscore list underscore like is equal to pd.api.types.is underscore list underscore like. Just type it in, it's important. So let's copy all of that and then paste it here. Okay, that all runs. So now let's just go to Another thing we're going to need is time, as in when something is the date basically that we want to download the stock's price. So we want to type in from date time import date time, and we need something else. This is just to give a format to the date time. It's import pytz. And then while we're at it, we're going to be doing some seeing how long the thing runs later. So we're going to need the time function for that. So import time while we at it, doing all of that. So then let's just try a read in data. Ultimately, that's what it's all about, to just demonstrate this thing works. So we are typically with this function, what you would do is you'd go data is equal to web, which is that, dot data reader. There we go. And then you'd put in a stock's name. So we're just going to go AAPL, good old Apple. And then you say what website you're using to get the data from, which is Yahoo. And then you're going to go start, a start date, and then an end date. Now these are variables right now. But since this is all on, we're just looking for one day, the day in which the earnings per share reported, we're going to just have start date and start date. Okay, so we now need to get in a date. So we're going to call this start is equal to date time year, month, day, hour, minute. Okay, so I'm going to just year, month, day. So year is going to be, let's just go 2018, month 10/16, which is yesterday. And then we want 0, 0, 0, 0, 4 zeros, comma, pytz dot utc, which is that. So that just sort of gives it a code. So let's try this out now. Date time is not defined. Okay, let's just import all of these functions. Okay, so we've imported those functions. Then let's just see that it reads in the start date. Okay, magic. And now let's download some data. Hey, let's type in data. Cool. So there we go. Let's just check it out. AAPL stock price 222.15, 222.14994. So this thing is working, which is great. We're in business. So now we've got to add a whole bunch of things to it, but the core of what we're trying to do revolves around downloading the price, which is what we've done. So the next step is we need to read in the names of the stocks. So let's just go through it step by step. So we've changed the directory. We've written the earnings per share data. Now we need to create something. I'm calling this mapping table for months. So if you recall, in the underlying data, we've just got year and month, but we don't know how many days are in each of those months. So there might be another way to do this, but this is just a quick way that I'm doing it to tell Python how many days are in each month. You can think of whatever rhyme you learnt or way you learnt to remember that in kindergarten. Days DF. I count it on my knuckles, if you really want to know. Days DF is equal to pd.data frame 31, 30, 31, 30. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Hey, gotta love primary school teachers. Anyway, so we need to just store these days of the month in something. So we're creating a data frame, which is once again like a spreadsheet in Python. So here's our data frame. We now need to give it some data. So square brackets, 31 January, 28 February, 31, 30, 31, 30, 31, 31, 30, 31, 30, 31. Do we have 12 here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Great.